Yeah. Yes. Hey, Glenn, are we going to be sent a link with the video?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Probably 2:00 it should go out to everybody. Okay.
Right, y'all. Yeah. Can you squeeze through? All right. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We're here to discuss the officer-involved shooting that took place on June 10th at approximately 11:30 p.m. in the area of Sullivan Avenue and Industrial Mile Road. As with every police-involved shooting, the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is investigating this incident. Today, we will share with you footage captured that night by both a cruiser and body-worn cameras of officers involved. At 11:15 Monday night, dispatchers received multiple calls from concerned citizens reporting the behavior of the suspect. We'll share some of that audio now with you so that you can get an idea of what the officers were responding to.
And I was at a light turning left when some kind of nutcase was out in the middle of the street. He's at the intersection up there with all cars going in all directions. No, he came ahead on my vehicle while I was in the street getting ready to take a left. I don't know where he's at now. You don't see any? Yeah, like, no, I'm about here. I'm not gonna find out where he's at. 911, what is the location of your emergency?
We're clients by the non-formal health center, and there's a man on foot walking up to people's cars, banging on them. He just kind of opened the door where my son was sitting. He's on foot, just walking up to random people's cars, making stretch.
What kind of threat is he making?
I can't really understand it because he doesn't really know much English, but like he's following his stick and like banging on windows and like talking about pull up or something. Like
Did you see about this?
No, this is how to fistball them.
Okay.
Hi, I was just driving on the road and I saw a guy in the middle of the person change out of that.
Okay, where at?
He was on Georgesville and he said on Pineville. He had an accident. I was driving and he was following me in the middle of the road and I backed out and he was chasing the car and I.
Okay, and you said, was he running at your car?
Yeah, he was running out my car and I backed out and he was in the middle of the road.
You had to reverse to get away from him?
Yeah, I just put a word in the middle of the road to get away from him. I will take over.
All right, I'll get help out there. Did you see anyone else out there with him?
No, but there was told me the local side that he was baby on their car and they got away.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Responding officers made contact with the suspect at approximately 11:25 p.m. in the area of Georgesville Road and Klein Road. They observed the suspect with his vehicle stopped in the middle of the roadway. Officers gave commands in both English and Spanish for the male to put his hands up, as the suspect was identified as Hispanic in the 911 calls. The suspect ignored those commands, got inside his vehicle, and drove away. The officers followed the male at a slow speed and made additional attempts to stop him. On the last attempt, the suspect exited his vehicle with an edged weapon in his hand. As the suspect approached the officers, one officer made 2 attempts to deploy their taser. Both attempts were unsuccessful. As the suspect advanced toward the officers, they discharged their firearm, striking the male. The officers rendered aid until medics arrived. The male was transported by medics to Doctors West Hospital, where he was pronounced at 11:49 p.m. At this time, we will show footage captured during this incident.
Hey, put the knife down! Put it down now! Hey! Manos arriba! Hey! Stay back! Stay back! Stay back! Give us a three. We need more cars. We need traffic shut down. Come to the door. And pull screws. Stop! Drone block the knife! You got radio? He's about to. No, he's back. Take it in the car. Take it off more. You can put this way. Stop the one. Hey! Manos arriba! Manos arriba! Hands up! I don't know if that's a knife. Manos arriba! Manos arriba! He's just gonna hit. What's wrong with you? He's trying to get ahead and spike it.
Going over the railroad tracks.
You gonna jump out of that car? Go! 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 Get out of here!
Well, he was threatening some other people. He just pulled up to another car. We're stopped in the middle of the intersection of Industrial Mile and Old Sullivan here.
Get back out of the car. Hey! Manos arriba! Manos arriba! Hey! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
That was the dash cam footage. Now we're going to show you the vantage point of 3 officers that were involved.
Manos arriba! Hey! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
And just wait, don't rush out and come back.
Hey! Go!
Hey, don't get too close. Chase him again.
the record, there was a call for service in the 1700 block of Pheasant Run earlier that day, approximately about maybe 4 or 5 hours earlier that day, regarding the suspect well-being check. At the time, the officers that responded, which were not the officers involved in this incident, separate 2 officers, they responded to that resident. It was a neighbor that made the phone call. When they got there, they spoke to the neighbor. There was no threat to anyone, no threat to him. They also spoke to him. He said he didn't have any issues, wasn't harmed himself, and was tired. The officers at that point had no legal standpoint to go into the home, as he would not allow them in. They filled out a form for MCR for referral for the next day, which they submitted into the system. And then obviously a few hours later, this incident occurred. As you know, Marcy law protects the identities of victims of crime, and since officers were targeted in this incident, Ohio law requires us to withhold their identities. So we'll take any questions at this time regarding this incident.
It's obvious he has something in his hands. Do we know yet exactly what that object was?
We know that it was an edged weapon.
Like a knife or?
Is Sergeant Miracle, could you describe?
I didn't realize on it was a drywall. Actually, it was a decoration.
So what I know, it was some sort of makeshift like knife or like a piece of metal, and then it had like a hook with some sort of like screw, and then there was another hook on it. It was some sort of makeshift weapon.
About how many times does he stop before the final stop? Seemed like there were a few in between there.
Yeah, they attempted to try to get him to stop a couple of times, and they, tried to keep their distance and try to also be concerned about the people that were on the roadway and concerned about the residents and citizens that were driving down the road. So there were a couple instances where they did try to stop them.
Do we know how many officers in total fired their duty weapon?
5.
So all 5 are now on administrative duty?
All 5 right now are not back yet. So all 5 have to be evaluated.
From viewing the video, all the video, did the officers follow company policy?
Based on what we saw in the video, there was no policy violated.
Do we know why the taser didn't work? I know it doesn't always work, but do we know in this situation why it didn't stick, why it didn't work?
We have no idea. That would be obviously a question maybe for BCI. We know that there is an investigation, but we do know that it was deployed twice.
Did he yell in Spanish and English to officers during any of the times they had interactions with each other?
I cannot verify that he had any interaction. Again, that would be BCI. When the investigation is conducted, they'll be able to determine that.
I know you mentioned the incident a few hours beforehand, but had this suspect been on your radar before, had any other run-ins?
There was no documented history of any type of illness or anything like that. He did have a history in regards to some criminal incidents. They believe there was an open warrant for protection order out against him at the time, and there was an OVI charge, as well as prior incidents for, I believe, rape and abduction, kidnapping.
The sergeant spoke to it possibly being a drywall tool in his hands. Can you confirm that or explain that further?
Well, again, with BCI conducting their investigation, we can only tell you what it appeared to look like to us.
Okay.
And so they're obviously conducting their investigation, and they have all of the evidence with them. But that's what it appeared to be, some sort of tool that was makeshift with screws and hooks and something like that. So we can't completely say for sure what it was. That would have to come out through the investigation.
Any other weapons found on him or in his car or his person?
At this time, that's the only thing that we know. Again, with BCI conducting the investigation would have looked through all that.
Chief, we always get questions when a fatal officer involved shootings happen. Why weren't social workers called or alternative response? Could that have been utilized in the situation?
So what I will tell you is that at that particular moment, MCR was not working at the time. However, I do have leadership from Mobile Crisis Response here, and he could speak to if anything they would have done differently.
Good afternoon. To watch the video, Mobile Crisis Response Chief said was not available at this time.
situations like this where it's fast evolving and it's a violent situation, we do not bring in our clinicians until we've secured the scene. So in that situation, my clinicians would have been held back until the officers took care of secured the scene and safe for everybody to walk in there.
Is
Time
it
for one more
On
question
the, for you or for
For
anyone?
me,
for anyone?
for anyone.
Well, the question is, there's, on social media, there's a lot of videos going on, people talking, their big question is, why did all the officers have to shoot all at once? Why did all these officers shoot for this one gentleman that didn't have a gun, they just had a weapon?
And I understand those questions, but when an officer responds to a scene, an officer is locked in on the imminent threat that they're dealing with, the threat to themselves or a threat to anyone else. So what I can tell you is that they responded based on what they saw at that time from their view.
So for those of you who have not received the records request, if you requested a body worn camera, that will be out very soon. So we thank you very much.
Lieutenant, can you tell us who you are and spell your name for us?
Yeah,
please?
sorry. Lieutenant Mike Forrest, last name is V as in Victor, OORHIS. I'm the track lieutenant, treatment, recovery, addiction crisis teams. I'm in charge of the REACT therapy dogs and the mobile crisis response unit.
Thank you.
And it should also be noted, I just want to say one more thing. We do provide crisis intervention training for our officers. So the officers on the scene, they had crisis intervention training. So I just wanted to make note of that.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.